hasn't been so terribly forthcoming about the truth. I like to say they don't lie, they deny. Well, a lot of studies have come out. I'm not talking about Brookings. I'm talking about a lot more studies came in, and just the fact that we wake up in the morning and the alarm goes off, and we pretty much know what's going to happen to us that day. The average person. It's a kind of security that we wouldn't have if there were extraterrestrials landing in not a sequentially known. In other words, having every day something strange and new and wonderful or horrible happening. This is not, you know, a lot of people say, well, the public's ready to accept it, and we can, you know. No, you can't. No, you cannot accept it.
Well, the abduction thing alone is enough to put people in a living nightmare.
It shakes a lot of people into a state of traumatic stress disorder, and just the uniqueness of it, the new reality that a person is plunged into without having the ability to determine whether I'm going to go or not. That's why a lot of people say, well, you can't do this to me, and they say, yes, we can.
Where do you think the abductions are heading? Are they out of control, and do you feel they're...
I think that they're more than what the government signed on to. But...
why do you think that is?
Because I think, one by one, everybody has to know that the future of the world is in danger.
But are the abductions, in your opinion, good or bad?
I think that you know, there's one individual I could think of that has something to do with a magazine that I don't especially appreciate. I was on the show and I didn't especially appreciate that because I wanted to talk about the children. He wanted to talk about how I would treat an abductee who is unceremoniously taken from their bed and beamed up to a ship and, you know, really horrible thing. But like John Mack, I have to agree that the more experience a person has with extraterrestrials, I think the more sincere they realize they are. And the more they care about what's happening, that, if anything, the government's much more dangerous to people than the actual aliens that they have experiences with. I prefer the word experience to abduction.
Can you expound much on the cloning processes that you were privy to?
No, I cannot.
Okay.
Except the fact is that way before Dolly or anyone else, there was one man, and there may have been others. And, it's funny, the general who was in charge of the project, I was the chief scientist, but the general said, maybe now it's time you have, before defibrillating him, maybe it's now's a good time to have a talk with your God. But I had a lot of talks with my God before that. I didn't like doing it, but as it worked out, I think he was born with a soul. I think there was a spirituality about him that I didn't really have to teach him very much for him to develop a sense of life is sacred, life is special, life is unique, and life is not to no one has the power, or should have, to take another life, especially an innocent one.
Speaking of life on this planet, the ETs, I don't know if you were privy to the government's UFO Bible, but I take it you probably were. Since they can manipulate time, they obviously can tell what the future is, even though there's a free will factor involved there. But
very much involved. They wouldn't be going to all the trouble of trying to discuss the future with people if there was just a no possibility of a future, that everything is written in stone, and that destiny is going to carry us toward one road, one entrance to one tunnel only.
Of course, a lot of speculation is that the Zetas are trying to move here, and they want to try to get...
I think of all the planets in the galaxy, there's so many other that probably would, well, the speculation they want to move here, no.
Well, they're in a lot of, working in a lot of underground tunnel systems.
As requested.
As requested. Can you talk any about the treaties that we worked out with these entities?
No, I can't, except to say that they weren't constitutionally ratified by the Senate.
Do you feel the ETs are breaking some of the components of the treaty?
No.
Even though the abductions seem to be...
We have, by our mistreatment of them and by trying to shoot them down, because it's so highly compartmentalized, that you have some that want to establish better diplomatic relations, and there are those with the top-heavy militarily who want to bring them down with the weapons they developed for SDI, which was pretty much given us.
What about the assessment that Bob Dean always talks about? Were you privy to that assessment also?
Yes, I was.
So the information...
When I saw that 5 minutes on a tape that I get from an agency, I get plenty of videotapes. And when I saw that he was just on for 5 minutes, I said, geez, that guy's talking about something I read.
So Bob Dean's totally on the level?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, he's definitely a good researcher also.
And I'd like to remind everyone who hears this that at Roswell he said, isn't it time that we stopped attacking each other and presented a united front for the truth? Maybe then the government would say people are growing up enough for this process release of information. Did you look through? Here he comes.